100%, all personal.
Because some people separate the two.
I don't believe in that. I think you like don't mix business with pleasure. And I'm like, man, if you're my homie and you're a friend and I can't do business with you, then we shouldn't be friends.
I have an issue where I get too involved. So I've had 5 personal assistants now because they're all guys. Maybe I should hire a girl, but like I just get so close with them. I invite them to lift, I invite them to eat food, and it just gets too close. Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. All right, guys from Texas, we got Dustin Gutkowski here today. We're going to talk roofing, right?
Roofing, yeah.
Building a roofing empire.
Yeah.
It's a cool business, man. My uncle owned one in PA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
and he had no
crazy.
business acumen, and he built it to a 7-figure company. So I was like, all right, there's something with roofing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, no, I didn't have anything in roofing. I'd never done roofing before.
Yeah.
So it was,
he literally went from postal office delivery man to owning a roofing company within a couple years, 7-figure company.
That's awesome.
So there's a gap in the market there, right?
There still is.
Wow. Yeah, because this was 10 years ago, so there still is.
Huge gap. Yeah. It's I want to say that it's bridged a little bit, but not really. I feel like it's not at all. I feel like there's still so far to go. Like just even in Texas, there's unlicensed, unregulated. The only roofing license in Texas is like a fraternity of basically roofer bros that regulate it, and you pay to be in it. There's Texas does not require you to have a license, which
so you don't
is crazy.
need any skills to prove you have. You just get a license.
Yeah, you don't even you don't have to get a license. Like literally, you could move to Texas tomorrow and start a roofing company. There's zero license.
Wow,
they don't regulate at all. You need a license to cut hair, give massage, but not to be a roofer.
That doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Because a roof is so vital. I mean, you need a good roof to live.
It's crazy.
That is nuts. So you basically saw that and were like, let me start one, or did you work for someone else first?
I was in the fitness industry for like 16 years, managed health clubs. It was like running like 30 health clubs and doing sales, managing people. And roofing kept coming up. I saw a bunch of people get into the industry. I was like, man, what's going on? And we had like 2 bad experiences with contractors, me and my wife. So it was like, man, this is just terrible, shady contractors. And I've always like lived my life. If I could find, if there's a problem, I'm going to find a solution. And so like, if people have problems with contractors, why not maybe be a good contractor? Like it seems common sense. And just saw so many people get into the industry, and I saw guys that like I knew that were having a lot of success. And I was like, dude, this guy's a bum. I can do better than him, And it was no offense to them, but I was like, and then the kind of final straw was I was in Michigan managing health clubs, and the guy that I worked for, I was running all of his stuff, only answered to him. Yeah. I was like, he was worth probably $100 million. I was like, man, where'd you get your money from? Like, he's like, oh, roofing. I'm like, come on. So I did move back to Texas, started roofing, but I did work for somebody else for about 10 months before I started my own.
Okay.
Then started my own, and here we are, man. It's crazy.
Immediate success, or it took a bit?
Yeah, we did, right? But it depends on what you're, like, people will tell us, like, yo, you guys had a ton of success. You're one of the fastest roofing companies we've ever seen. Yeah. I still don't think we're where we should be. So I don't think we've had success, which is weird. I'm pretty hard on myself, but we've had some success, right? I guess you can't argue that, but I feel like we could be better. We could do more. I don't really gauge the success on the money side of it. I gauge it on the people we build and how our team feels. Like, how are we growing? How are they doing? Like, are we making future leaders? Are we, growing people? Like, are we helping people be better? Are we helping our customers? What are they saying about us? I don't really gauge it on the money aspect of it. I gauge it more on that. Like, when this person started with me to today, are they better now? Yeah. Right? Are they better people? Are they better professionals? Are they better fathers? Like, whatever it is, like, are they better than when they got here? That's really what I kind of base success on. And I feel like there's so many more people we could impact. So
interesting. So you take a personal approach to your employees.
Yeah, 100%. All personal.
Because some people separate the two.
I don't believe in that. I think you like don't mix business with pleasure. And I'm like, man, if you're my homie and you're a friend and I can't do business with you, then we shouldn't be friends.
I have an issue where I get too involved. So I've had 5 personal assistants now because they're all guys. Maybe I should hire a girl, but like I just get so close with them. I invite them to lift. I invite them to eat food, and it just gets too close, too quick.
So I understand that aspect of it too, because we do the same stuff. So I have over 100 employees, right? Yeah. And there's about 12 of us. Every morning we work out literally in my house. My 2-car garage is a gym.
Oh, nice.
We cold plunge workout, dry sauna. We do it every day. and you become brothers, man. And I'm really close with a lot of people. Like my kids call probably 10 of our employees uncle.
Wow.
The wives hang out together. But I think it's okay as long as you have to set expectations. Like I'm not afraid to have business conversations like, look, man, we're friends, but this is business. And so don't get it twisted. Like this, at the end of the day, like we have to provide for our families, all of us. And I think there's that understanding of, look, we're still friends if we have a tough conversation. I think don't be a jerk about it. You don't have to be personal about the conversation. I think that's where most people go wrong is when like, let's just say we were working together and we're friends and we're having a business conversation and I make it personal where I say something like, well, because you know how people take shots about someone's family or something they're going through. And I'm like, come on, man, like there's no need for that. Keep it the professional side of it and you can be friends. But I believe most of our success is from the personal side because, dude, we do UFC events. We've done Disney trips together. We've done so many things together and it's helped us grow and create a culture that's like no other because we are so close. And I think we're all pushing towards a common goal. So all of us want to head in that direction. So yeah, hey,
wow.
man.
That's cool to see you make it work. So maybe I can just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think you just got to find the right people, right? Because not everybody, it's not for everybody because there are people out there that'll try to take advantage of it, right? And there are those people. We've had to let people go and there's people that have, come on and taken advantage of it. And I get close to people, man. I've had people quit my company that their car got repoed and I let them use a personal vehicle for months. They've gotten evicted out of their house and I paid their rent or I paid for a new place, like a significant amount of money.
Damn.
And those people quit on you.
That's crazy.
It's tough. So
yeah, because I almost see it like an investment, right? Because you're paying their salaries and you're kind of investing in the person a little bit too. And you want to see them succeid.
100%. Yeah.
So then when they quit, it kind of hurts.
It does, man. It's tough. But you do it for the ones that stay, not the ones that quit. Right?
Yeah. And you got 100 people now?
About 125.
Wow.
Across Dallas and Houston.
And how long ago did you start this?
November of 19. So November 23rd of 2019 was our first day.
Damn.
So we're 4 years and what is that? 4 months? 5 months?
That's pretty new. And it's already almost a 9-figure company, right?
Yeah.
That is insane, man.
Yeah.
Did you see that growth that quick coming or?
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
It's weird. So yes and no. So my business partner, every prediction I've predicted where we'll finish, and at times they're like, Dustin, there's no way. And I'm like, yes, we will. And I've kind of predicted it that where we would be. And I think it's because I did see it. It's like, we can do this. There's the ability. We have the people. We have the skills to do this. And if we put in the work, it'll happen. So I've kind of seen it and I believed it. And I think my wife tells me, she's like, hey, the thing about my husband is he believes the that comes out of his mouth, which is almost like, I'm like, we're going to do this. So yeah, in one hand, I never thought we'd be here. And on the other hand, I thought we would arrive, right? Yeah. So I'm the ultimate yin yang of it. One day I think we're the worst company on earth and we should do more. And the next day I'm like, we're the best. It's that balance for us.
So you're the visionary and you can manifest. That's cool. Some people usually have one or the other, but you can do both.
Yeah. I think this is the just being able to picture things so crystal clear, like it's already happened. Yeah. And then I feel like it has happened. So then there's no pressure. I just have to do the necessary things to get there. I like to see, and then I get so focused on where I'm going that it doesn't allow distractions to enter, because I think if you know who you really are, right, first and foremost, you have to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you can figure out what you want. And then once you figure out what you want, there's no distraction that could come in, because to me, it's like, okay, I'm still going here, man. So this happened, it doesn't matter, I'm going here. This happened, doesn't matter, I'm going here. Man, this person quit, that sucks. I didn't want him to leave, but I'm going here. So I'm focused on where I'm going, that these distractions aren't distractions. And so, because I've already seen myself getting there, now I know, hey, if I just do these necessary steps to get there, I'm going to arrive as long as I don't quit.
Right. Any year in particular that was the hardest or most stressful out of the 4 years?
Two to three was the hardest, hands down.
Was that during?
No, so we started a few months before. So, but it was, I don't want to say it wasn't easy. We were starting out, but I think we were just so focused on, you're a new company. We had opened November of the 23rd of 19. So within 90 days hit. So we really didn't know any different. And it was kind of, you're just hustling so hard that you don't have time to focus on what's going on. You're just trying to make it, feed your family. Because I had a pregnant wife. I had a 2-year-old son. I didn't have enough money to feed my family. So I'm just out there hustling, trying to make it happen.
Wow.
Year 2 to 3 was we had our greatest growth in sales, but we lost the most people, and it was because of me not being a leader. I was focused more on like sales and, you know, that type of role instead of being like a CEO and leader. And I wasn't managing people like I should. I wasn't focusing on people. So it was really hard for me because I look back and go, I made some mistakes with people that I shouldn't have made had I been focusing on them. So I kind of like re-engineer what I was doing. And like, look, when I started this, it was about people, and we got to always keep it about people. So it was just a growth that it was hard for me to step back from. Like, I would use it playing sports. Like we talked about basketball earlier. Imagine being the all-star player, and then you have to step back and be the all-star coach to manage all. It was really a tough transition for me to step out of that, and it was just a learning experience.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have that leadership skill just naturally. It's tough to just have that.
Yeah, it is, man. It's missing, I think, in most organizations. If you see successful organizations, it usually starts at the top and with leadership that are able to manage people. And
especially the way you grew up, right? Because I know you were homeless at 14 years old, so you probably didn't have a leader early on in your life.
Zero. Yeah, none. I was sleeping on a park bench at 14. No leadership, no father figure. So it doesn't. You don't realize how much of an impact it has on your life. I think it really until you have kids, and then you see how much impact it has on your children. It's like, wow, man, like if I would have had that, how things went. But then I also now realize it was almost a blessing because there were so many things in life I was able to figure out by trial and error that I don't think I would have got here had I not gone through those things.
100%.
So it was a
double-edged sword, right?
It is, man. It's like, which one do you want?
Right, yeah, because I look back at my childhood and I definitely had some trauma that I just thought was normal. And I didn't address it till this year. I was like, damn, that was actually pretty bad.
Yeah. When you talk about it, isn't it weird sometimes when you say it? Or I think the surreal thing is when you see like a story and so people are like, oh my God, I can't believe that. And you're like, that's my story. Like I've been through stuff like that. And you're like, holy like it's kind of crazy.
No, for real. I mean, damn, homeless at 14. How long were you homeless?
So I was like on and off, man, for a year and a half, 2 years. Like stay at friend's house here and there till I was about 16. One of my really good friends, his dad figured it out rather quickly. He was like, "You don't have anywhere to go, do you?" And I was like, "No, sir. You know, I don't." He said, "You're not leaving here." And he really took me in, and that's what got me through high school. It was, no telling where I'd be without them. So he took me in, he figured it out, and let me live there with him, and it was good because it kind of, I think that's when I started to blossom and really understand my personality. And I still made a ton of mistakes, and it was a hard road from there, but I felt comfortable for the first time because I was living in a home. I had somebody around. I didn't have to bounce around because it was stressful, man, not knowing where you're going to sleep, trying to sell someone to sleep at their house, and can I crash on my friend's couch? And you're in high school. It's different, right? You don't have a vehicle. You don't have money. There's not really a whole lot you can do. For real.
My best friend right now was homeless in college. So I took him in, hid him in my mom's basement for like a year. Yeah. And I can relate, dude. I mean, he had gray hairs at like 18 years old.
Yeah.
It's stressful.
It's super stressful.
I mean, it sucks though. And now he's a millionaire.
Yeah, there you go.
So similar story, man. I'm glad to see you beat that. And shout out to that dad for taking you on, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, he was a great man.
So he pretty much adopted you?
Pretty much, man. And for 3 years I lived there until I, graduated and then moved on. But yeah, it was phenomenal. I'm blessed to have that. I'm still friends with his son.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Unfortunately, he passed away years ago, but his son, I was literally texting him on the way here. It's crazy.
Nice.
Like we're still friends to this day. So 25, 26 years.
Wow.
Yeah, still friends today. Crazy.
That's a deep bond, man. There's not many of those left in my life.
100%. Yeah.
Only got like maybe one or two.
Yeah, that you still talk to.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, yeah.
It's weird because it's your whole life at one point, right?
Yeah.
And that's all you know, but then you go out in the real world and
you think about you think about back in the day, like how much you thought those people were going to happen to you for the rest of your life. And then now you're like, man, I don't even know what that, we were talking about this kid I used to mess with in high school yesterday. And I was like, they're like, what is his name? And I was like, I don't know. I don't even remember his name. Right. Yeah. And I thought that was going to be such a huge point in my life forever.
Yeah. And he bullied you.
Yeah. I bullied him.
Oh, you were the bully?
We had like a beef, man. We had a beef. No, not like bully. We just, how you had those kids that you just beefed with.
Yeah. I had one, but I never fought back, honestly.
Yeah.
He just bullied the shit.
No, I wouldn't tolerate that.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, without a father figure for me, I just took the opposite approach. So I was super shy and like reserved, and I never defended myself.
Really? Yeah. I was probably an extrovert hidden in an introvert's body, and it was lashing out was to keep people away. So I was the opposite. I was like, I didn't want people around, so I would fight and attack back so people would leave me alone. Because I learned if you bullied me and I punched you in the face, you're gonna leave me alone. Which is, you know, it was just, I was that guy, like almost loud and obnoxious to stay away, to keep people at a distance because I felt like they wouldn't mess with me.
Yeah, interesting. We couldn't throw hands at my school. I was from like an upper white class neighborhood, so that wasn't really a thing.
That wasn't a thing.
My dad grew up with that. He said fights all the time in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there was fights all the time at our school.
Yeah, you think they should bring those back?
I think so.
I think I think with the cyberbullying, it's kind of weak.
It is, because you're never gonna have a chance to face the person.
Yeah.
You're saying these stuff online, right? I laugh at the UFC and we were just talking about Jamal Hill, but it's like some of the people in his comments, you know, talking trash to him. And I'm like, bro, this dude would literally murder you with his hands with one punch, and you're online talking trash. Like if you saw him, you'd probably ask for an autograph.
Easily.
But you wouldn't say that to him, to his face, so why say it online?
There's no accountability.
Zero.
Yeah, it's. I think they should bring it back, man.
Yeah, let him duke it out. Especially too, it's like if you're gonna say some stupid stuff, like be able to back it up, because what's the purpose of it? Like, why are you doing? I can't stand that. I can't stand people bullying or saying hateful things. It's like, well, I don't understand the purpose of it.
Do you get a lot of hate on social media?
Probably, but I don't. I laugh about it. So, like for instance, I'm a father first. Like I love my kids.
Yeah.
And people have tried to, and I don't really entertain it. People have even tried to go at my kids, man. It's
really?
Like, it's wild, because I don't think you really get me offside with what you say, because I couldn't care. I'm always like, look at the resource. So like, for instance, if somebody's a good dude and they say something bad about me, I'm probably going to call them up and find out why.
Yeah.
Because that's a good, valid resource. Like somebody super successful or somebody that's achieved a lot of things in life and they said something about me, then there's probably some validation to it. And I want to call them up and find out why. Because if I made a mistake, I want to own it and I want to try to make it right.
Right.
What's the resource? The guy that's not doing anything with his life, I'm like, hey, man, look at the resource. Why would I even care about that dude? But I had some people recently, I posted a video of my kid and my 6-year-old, and I try to coach him up when we go to school. And I posted this video, and there was like some hate comments. And one guy was like, your kid looks like he's a, and you know, this kid's ugly. And I was just like, hey, man, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You know, like, I try to make a joke because I'm like, what are you doing? That's crazy that you would go attack someone's kid. So when it happens to me, I'm like, man, make a joke about it, because that dude's probably sitting there unhappy, doing nothing in his life, miserable. So he's got to project his insecurities on me. And if I react to it in a negative way, then I'm only playing into it, making him feel better. So I'm just like, you know what, man, you need a hug. Like, what's going on? I don't play into it.
Agreed. If it's a credible source, I'll look into it. But if not, it's not even worth the time.
Just move on.
There's so many of them online, trolls.
100%.
I saw you just interviewed PBD.
Yes.
What did you take away from that one?
First and foremost, I think he's a great father. I think he grounds himself in that. I think that's huge, because he's more, I believe, dude, he's the real deal, man. He is hungry. You would think someone that sold their company for $250 million plus, he'd kind of be, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, take a step back.
Yeah, he truly wants to help people and make them better. You can see the focus, like just talking to him, the intensity and the focus. Like, it was just great. He's really out there trying to help people, and he's going on a bigger run than what he did. He keeps talking about this 40-year run, and I believe he's going to do it. He really wants to do it. So I interviewed him. It was just fun, man. It was great. Just, he drops so much knowledge, and he drops so many great nuggets on you that I think he can really help people that want to go to the next level. Just even listening to his podcast, listening to his videos, you can learn so much of just the things that he's had to overcome and challenges that he had to do. He didn't come from money, came from another country, had a lot of struggles, and he's fought through them. So it was fun, man. He's a good dude. I think he's genuinely a good dude.
I love that. I've been watching him for probably 6 or 7 years, man.
Yeah.
And he's taken a shift. It used to be all business and money. Now it's like politics, but he still has some really good content for sure.
Yeah. It is a lot more politics, but I think it's from a standpoint of trying to protect his kids and the people he cares about. Because if you look at a lot of the stuff he does, he doesn't like what's going on out there. And he's trying to protect his loved ones, whether you agree with him or not, right? I don't agree with what everybody says. And I try not to dabble in too much politics, because I believe I want to vote on issues that I believe are right, not for a party, right? But I think he's taking a stand on what he believes is right, because he doesn't want his kids to grow up in a world where they're going to be forced to do things that he doesn't agree with. And I respect that a lot.
Yeah, he's brought a lot of light to raising kids, and I like how he rewards them with books and that whole system. Did you see that video?
Yeah, well, he does.
He got a lot of hate for it, but I'm gonna do that with my kids, honestly.
You have to. You got to teach them. We did a vision board party for our like close friends and kids. Man, it was really cool to see what some of the kids came up with.
Nice.
And it's so impactful. Like I use my son the other day. We take him to school. He's like, Dad, this was a couple months ago. He started kindergarten. We had just moved into this neighborhood, so he didn't really know anybody. He's like, Dad, I don't really know any kids at school. I'm like, well, who do you hang out with? Well, I know this kid. And I said, Connor, just go up to him every day and just bump nubs and go up to him and just like, hey, Sean, have a great day today. Good morning. Go to Joe, have a great day. Good morning. And the first day, I was like, how did it go, Connor? He's like, well, Dad, they didn't really say anything. Second day, third day. I said, how'd it go third day? He goes, Dad, a couple of them said, good morning back and thank you. He goes, some didn't say anything, but I could tell what they were thinking. And now, 30 days later, he does it every morning. He goes, Dad, now they come up to me and say good morning, and they're all my friend, right? And so it's just the impact that you can have as a father of doing those things is huge.
Yeah, social skills are needed in kids these days because they're all on technology. So it's almost like a lost art now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to play outside when I was a kid.
Yeah, remember those days?
I know,
much fun. Yeah, it's so much fun. Now
I used to leave on the bike at 3 p.m., come home at like 10.
Yeah, the street lights, the street, that was it.
I don't see kids playing outside anymore, man. None. It's a shame. All the playgrounds are empty.
Yeah, there's not even really any playgrounds, really. I mean, there's some, but yeah, you don't see the kids out.
Oh, they're scarce, man. It's a shame.
Yeah, you don't see kids riding bikes anymore, anything.
Yeah. Technology's taking over. Do you have, how old is your kid right now?
I have 6, 3, and 1.
Are you giving them phones and stuff and iPads?
So my 6-year-old has a phone and
wow, that young, man.
Yeah, it's
dude.
crazy.
I didn't have a phone till high school.
Yeah, he does. But you know what's crazy about it? If you monitor what he watches, he's so far here. I've actually caught a lot of hate for this about giving your kids iPads and phones, right? And I'm like, but it's the way of the future. You're not stopping it. And so, wouldn't you want your kid to have an advantage? Like, wouldn't you want your kid to be able to text and read things and understand things? My 6-year-old's so smart, it's almost scary.
Wow.
Because he learns so many things. Now we monitor what he watches and we have the time that he can be on there and we don't just free for all, right? But he understands so many things, has a great vocabulary, and he's learned it from YouTube online. And, I remember, but back in the day when my grandparents, what did they get up and do? Read the whole paper front to back. So reading on an iPad or reading the paper, you're attached to something. Or they watch their favorite Wheel of Fortune show every night. What's the difference between watching on a TV or your iPad? Right? It's like we've all done it in a certain way. But I think if the future is nothing but phones, AI, laptops, or iPads, whatever, wouldn't you want your kids to have that advantage? So when they get older, they're not, what is this?
That is a good perspective to have. I never looked at it that way, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to deny them having technology.
No, they're going to have to. And so when your kid gets older, now I do agree, like 6 is probably a little young, but it's you know what's fun? It's fun to be able, like right now, I'm traveling. I'm away from my family. That's the hardest part of this. I love being able to text my 6-year-old or send him a video and say, I love you. And then when I'm traveling, I get a text, I love you, Dad.
Right.
That's powerful to me.
Absolutely. I love that. Overcoming adversity. Now, I know we talked about how you grew up. Is that the main adversity you struggled with?
Yeah, that was probably the hardest. I think you talked about it earlier too, about the trauma, reliving it and facing it. I think facing all the trauma was the hardest thing because you said, well, I just thought it was normal then, and so did I. And I don't think you realize the role it plays in your life. And then when you get older and, I got married, I wasn't a good person. And I ran from my trauma. I ran from those called demons. And I feel like when you run from them, they just get bigger. And they get bigger and they get bigger. And then eventually you can't face them because they're so big.
Right.
Facing those demons, was tough. Bringing a child in this world and not understanding who you were and not being in a situation to provide for them was tough. And having to overcome all that stuff, not knowing my real dad at all, my stepfather was terrible. How am I going to be a good dad? Like, what things can I do? Those were the hardest things. Like, how can I be a good husband? I have a 35-year track record of acting a certain way because of my upbringing.
Right.
I think facing that trauma and having to deal with it, it was the hardest thing to really overcome, to change behaviors, to look yourself in the mirror and go, man, I'm a loser. I've been a loser my whole life.
Damn.
I've done this. I got to change. I got to I got to do something different. That was hard, man. You don't want to have that conversation with yourself.
Yeah, admitting that at 35, I mean, that's very tough.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, we have that pride. Some call it ego, right? So to be able to admit that is a big step.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest thing, man. And just trying to say, look, man, I screwed up a lot, and I'm not going to fix this overnight, but I'm going to just work my off to try to become, a better person, and just focusing on being a better person every day, like trying to grow. And once you do that, it was hard though, because that trauma I don't think what people realize about trauma is you're supposed to go talk about it and go to a therapist, take medication to think it's going to go away. It never goes away. It's always there. But it's how do you deal with it? How do you face it is, I think, how you start to overcome it. And when you just run from it, you never deal with it, and you try to outrun it, but it runs faster. And I think the hardest thing about trauma is you want to get to a place where it goes away, but it doesn't ever go away. It's always there. It's always in the back of your mind, right? You said you went through some traumatic stuff. You probably think about it from time to time, right?
All the time, yeah.
Exactly. And so how do you move on from it? How do you don't, but you learn to deal with it, and you learn to, okay, this is a feeling right now. Just let's let this storm's going to pass. Let's not do anything stupid, and let's get through this, because I'm going to feel this regardless. I might as well do something positive with it instead of a negative. And so I think, like, telling the story of, I used to be embarrassed about being homeless. I was embarrassed about being white trash. I was embarrassed about being a loser, right? I don't like telling the story of I had less than $300 in my checking account and I couldn't feed my wife and my son. That's not a fun story. But running from that doesn't change the story. The story's still the story. But what if I could tell the story in an aspect of it helps that person that's in the same situation I was and thinks there's not an end in sight, thinks there's no light at the end of the tunnel, he's in a dark place, and letting him know, hey, man, the brightest lights always shine after the darkest moments. Just keep going. And if I can impact that one person to help get through that, that makes it worth it telling the story. So I use that negative story and try to just turn it into a positive.
Absolutely. You broke the generational cycle, because who knows what trauma your biological dad had to deal with, and that was passed down, right?
Absolutely.
My dad got physically abused. So my trauma was he got so up, like physically abused by his dad, that he was absent emotionally with me. And if I said the wrong thing, he was also bipolar, I would get yelled at. So that's why I was so shy, I think.
Yeah.
Because I would just get yelled at if I said the wrong thing.
Yeah, you're afraid that anything you did, there's going to be a reaction.
Yeah, so I never spoke up in class. Even when the teacher called on me, I wouldn't answer.
Really?
Yeah, I was so scared of just speaking up, man.
And now you have one of the biggest podcasts in the world.
Right?
How crazy is that? How does it go, right?
I know. I mean, you got to face it, though.
Yes.
Because I could have kept running. One of my brothers, unfortunately, is a huge PC gamer nerd, and he just doesn't talk. Like, he's socially awkward, and he lives in his mom's basement and plays video games all day.
Really?
Yeah. So that I could have ended up like that easily.
Well, it's fun. So my brother, he's probably going to prison for a long time.
Damn.
We just found out like 2 months ago, for a laundry list of felonies. We're 6 years apart to the day, 5-6 years apart, like within, and he's going for a long time. So that's the path you could go on. So there's a thin line, right? That's literally blood brother, and look where he's headed. And we grew up in, we have the same mom, we have same upbringing, same trauma. And he went down that path, unfortunately.
Yep.
So I understand it.
I had a guest yesterday, his brother is homeless, and this guy's a multimillionaire.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's crazy. It must be like a mindset thing too.
It is. It's 100%. I was destined for that. I mean, you're destined for that if you don't change your mindset. It's all about the mindset and what you're capable of, because he would tell, oh, you're just lucky. I'm like, what? You have no idea, man. It's not has anything to do with luck.
Yeah. Was having kids that moment for you to start reflecting?
It was. Seeing my wife hold our son was the moment. It was like, man, this woman went through because moms are the MVPs, right? Like, it's crazy. And seeing what she went through to give birth to our son, and I was like, man, I owe these to the world, and I'm gonna give it to them, and I'm gonna make them proud that they're like, I'm their dad, I'm their husband. I'm gonna make these two proud of me. And it was just that moment of like, we were talking to Marab earlier, and he was like, we were talking about drinking. I was like, yeah, I don't drink anymore. What happened? Nothing. I just don't drink anymore. It was the last time I drank was actually with him in San Antonio for a UFC fight almost 2 years ago, and I was just like, man, I don't anymore. There's no reason. There was nothing bad happened. I just said, I just don't want my kids to wake up one day and I'm not their hero. And I just don't want to drink. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't want to. And I want to be the best version of myself. And if I'm drinking and partying, it's like, I don't want to be that. I want to make them proud of me. Like, they could pick anyone in the world to be their hero. I want it to be me. And I want to be the best dad and best father I can be, try to be the best husband I can be. And It was though, seeing my wife hold my son just felt like all the bad stuff I went through in life, it was worth it in that moment. And I was like, who cares what I've been through? Just let me make it right from today going forward.
Yeah.
And just try to be my best. And it was still a struggle. It wasn't just, oh, okay, I'm ready to be. But it was, man, it was definitely a point of, I'm going to make a better effort to be the best version of myself.
Love it. When I was in college, my mom dated this guy who's never been drunk before. I used to give him so much. I used to make fun of him. I was asking my mom why you're dating this loser. But looking back at it, man, like that was a blessing.
Yeah.
Like I don't drink anymore. And I used to drink all the time in college, daily.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
twice a day.
Yeah.
You know? And no, the guy was super accomplished, and it was probably because he didn't drink. It's a big sacrifice to drink.
Yeah, it does a lot to you, man. Just I just was like, man, I'd wake up, and I think I started stopping after our son was born. I didn't really drink. It was probably once every couple months, but then I would go drink like, every 2, 3, 4 months. And when I'd wake up, this is terrible. And I think I went a long period. I went like over a year without drinking. And then I had like 2 drinks one night, and I just remember I didn't feel the same. And I'm like, I don't like this. And it just, after that night, I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to drink anymore. And how long? I don't know. And
2 years later,
I just still don't want to. Now, again, if we do something super special, let's go celebrate. I'm not against it, right? Go to dinner, people drink, and I've bought drinks for people at dinner. I just don't want to right now.
Yeah, I feel that. Any other interviews that stand out to you that you've had on your show that you took a big lesson from?
So funny story. I interviewed the CEO of UFC Gym. His name is Adam Sedlak. So he runs their 200 plus locations, and we got to do it in the Octagon, like at their headquarters in California. Sick. It was so much fun. He was my first boss. So he was the first guy that promoted me when we were at 24 Hour Fitness together.
Wow.
So it kind of came full circle, right?
Yeah, that is awesome.
And just talking to him about reinventing himself as a leader as he got older, he said, when he was younger in his leadership role, he was a driver and everybody had to work like the same hours as him and care. And now he's focused more on people, and it's really helped him in his leadership role. And I went through that same struggle. So it was really, cool to see somebody that I looked up to and admired for a long time go through those same type of adversity on leadership, because he was an incredible leader. He was a VP running 100 plus stores then. So 15 years ago, he was already super successful, but he went through that leadership change to go to the next level. And now he's running UFC, gyms, which obviously connected to the Fertitta brothers and Dana.
Yeah.
And that's a huge role. So he wasn't able to get to a situation like that until he was growing as a leader. And so it was just a huge role that it was a reminder that we all, what got you here won't get you there. And even when you get to a high level, you still got to reinvent yourself all the time.
There's always a new problem, no matter what level of wealth.
Yep. And now what are you going to do to solve it?
Absolutely.
Right? How are you going to grow?
Dustin, it's been super fun, man. Anything you want to promote or end off with?
No, that's it, man. If anybody is struggling with anything out there, just, reach out to me if I can help. If you've gone through something in your life that's a struggle, reach out. I'd love to help you, maybe give some advice on anything. That's really it. As I continue on this journey, I want to impact as many people as possible.
Amazing, man. Thanks so much for coming on. Really powerful message.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you next time.